So I will jump right into it. My name is Ali Arif. I'm one of the lawyers with No Borders Migration, based out of the Sydney branch. So today I will be presenting the standard business sponsorship process, about how to qualify your company or business to be able to sponsor overseas workers. So I'll give you a general guideline, an overview. I'll try to cover all the important aspects, and if there's any questions, you can jot it down and we can discuss it at the end of this webinar. So let's get right into it. So founder and principal lawyer is Miss Agnes Keminis. She started when I was 5 years old, just to put things into perspective. So she's been doing this for a long time. Um, and she's still very active in the business, with clients and us. So she's very involved, very helpful. Whenever we need her, she's a phone call away. Um, she obviously started in migration law, and then in 2022 branched out to other areas of the law, property, employment, commercial, and migration. I'm in migration, and we have teams all over Australia that help clients with different visas. So I will be going through the standard business sponsorship process, the eligibility criteria, the requirements for the business, how to get that approval to get your business an approved sponsor to be able to sponsor employees. What are some of the issues, some challenges, and some changes that are coming up in the next few weeks? So we'll be going through that, and yeah, hopefully you guys will get most out of it. So why is this sponsorship stream or SBS in place? So it's implemented to help Australian businesses and companies fulfill the vacancies in their businesses, to continue successful operations, to fill the gaps. The Australian Home Affairs has put in this place, this stream, for companies to use and sponsor foreign workers. So there's a few different types of sponsorships for different visa streams. Now, they go by different names, but essentially they require same, if not similar, documentations to for the business. So if a company, an Australian business, wants to sponsor employees on a 482 or 494, they must be an approved standard business sponsor. So the SBS for short. So they need that in place and approved before they can proceed with sponsoring or nominating workers. There's also an option of having your business accredited. This has further extra requirements in terms of the number of employees, the turnover, and sort of how many you want to sponsor. Usually, accredited companies are huge companies with high turnovers that require, foreign employees, many workers every year. So that's an option available. The perk for that is the benefit for credit companies are that it's processed quicker than the normal SBS stream. On the other hand, we have the training activity sponsor, so temporary activity sponsorship. It has mainly to do with the training visas, temporary activities visas of 408, 407, and the temporary work visa 403. So they go by different names, but the requirements, documents for the company is essentially the same. You must note that if you are a temporary activity sponsor, you cannot sponsor under the SBS. So you cannot sponsor or nominate a worker for the 482. You have to get your business approved as an SBS or standard business sponsor. On the other hand, yeah, if you're an SBS and you want to nominate a worker for the training visa, you cannot do so. You have to become an approved te temporary activities sponsor. So who can become a standard business sponsor? So as you can see from the list, it's pretty flexible with type of businesses, business structures that can become a approved sponsor. It can be sole traders, it could be government departments, universities, medical institutions, non-for-profit, partnerships, private companies, of course. And once approved, you have 5 years. So if you get an approval today, it will be valid. The approval, the grant letter will be valid for 5 years. So 12th of June, 2030. And in that time, you can sponsor as many workers as possible under the 482 stream, given that you meet the turnover and the requirements of the visa, and you can demonstrate that you need a certain number of workers, and you can sponsor as many workers as you want, given that it's reasonable, and you can make a case for it. So to qualify for a business, you have to obviously abide by regulations, Australian laws. You cannot, be owing money. There cannot be a criminal connection or any adverse information and tax evasions, things like that. It will not sort of be helpful. It will not yield to a successful business approval. And you have to show that there's no reliance on foreign workers alone, that you have made genuine attempts to sponsor locals, but you were unsuccessful, which is why you're proposing workers or a worker. New businesses can sponsor and can become an approved business sponsor. Obviously, there's different requirements for that. Some companies have started restaurants, and they have provided future projections, business plans of the turnover, the contracts, for example, or the business they're anticipating getting in the next 12 to 24 months. So if they can make a case that, yeah, although they're a startup, it's a genuine business and they have genuine roles to fulfill, and we provide them with a document checklist for all our clients, and they have to go follow it to the T and provide us all the documents that we need, and we could help them, get an approval, regardless of whether or not they're established business or if they're a new business, and regardless of the turnover and the business structure. You just have to obviously abide by the regulations and sort of meet the requirements. And yeah. So in short, these are some of the documents that we require to get an approved sponsor, to make an application. And we have to show the company's financials, profit loss, balance sheet, a BAS statement showing for the last 4 quarters generally. And if it's a new startup, we want to see if they have a head office, if they have a contract for sale of land, in some cases, photos of the premises, if need be, along with other documents. But that's just a sort of brief list for you there. So yeah, to go about the SBS, what we require from clients to provide us with registration of the business, ABN, ACN, make sure everything's by the book. As I mentioned, if it's a new business, they have to provide some extra documentation to support their new business, developing business, such a lease agreement, business plan. And if the company is operated under a trust, we need to see a trust deed. And there's documents required for the employee in terms of contracts. And overseas businesses can also, if they meet the requirements, they can set up an entity in Australia. They have that option. But every case is different, circumstances all vary. So there is an option for companies that have an entity overseas and they want to sort of expand here and become an approved sponsor, they can do so. Yeah, so as I mentioned, yeah, they're valid. The sponsorship, once granted, is valid for 5 years. And for under 482 stream, you can nominate a worker for either 1, 2, or 4 years. Usually, it's for 2 years, and you can nominate for full 4 years. So the difference is that you'll be paying the SAF levy. The longer the visa, the higher the SAF levy fee will be. And the occupation, of course, has to be on the core skills list. There's specialist stream and then the labor agreement stream, which I'll get into in a minute. And then the 494 sponsorship or the visa, you can nominate for up to 5 years. You can nominate a worker for up to 5 years. And after 3, they can apply. If they reside and work in that regional area, they can apply for a permanent visa after 3 years. And employer nomination scheme is the permanent visa streams. It's both, there's the direct entry stream, and then there's the temporary transition stream, where you're transitioning from a temporary visa like a 482 to a 186. They all of these visa subclasses require either some sort of sponsorship by an Australian company or business, or for example, in the case of 186, they call it nomination, but essentially you require the same documents that we require for the 482 sponsorship process. It's just called a different name, but we require the same documents. There's English requirements, skill requirements, and age for all of these visas, and they all vary. 482, for example, you need vocational English, 186 competent, but each case is different. Each worker is different. They could hold a passport for countries UK, Canada, US, and they may be exempted, but that's a case specific scenario. So there's obligations for employers to the employee. In order to get an approved business sponsor, you have to show that you're not taking advantage of the worker, you're not underpaying them, that you will give them work for the duration that they're nominated for. Employment contract, they will not be overworking, and there's obligations for you to pay, in most cases, your part in terms of the sponsorship process. And obviously they cannot pay you. The occupation cannot be made up for visa migration purposes. So you have to hold, as a company or business, your end of the bargain, and your duties to pay for the fees and the travel costs, and all that applies to you. So as I mentioned, you have to choose the right occupation that's on the list of skilled occupation, or there's labor agreement stream available for low skilled work. That's another topic, labor agreements. You have to demonstrate that there's no Australian worker that could fulfill this role. And this is done by way of a labor market test report. It's when you post job ads. Previously was on 3 different websites. Now they've toned it down a bit. You have to demonstrate by showing at least 2 advertisements posted for a period of 28 days, and genuine efforts were made to, source a local employee, but it wasn't successful. This is very important and it's a requirement of the time of application. So just showing that the advertisement was posted is not on its own enough to get a visa grant or get that small nomination granted. You have to provide a in-depth report and showing number of applicants that have applied, specific dates, and why they were not successful, and why you are, you know, seeking to sponsor or nominate this foreign employee. There's salary requirements that you have to meet, that you have to pay as a business, as a company, to your employee. The threshold by now until July 1st is 73,150. It's after July 1st, it'll be around 76,515, so 76,515. This does not include superannuation. So you have to, if not at the time of application, you have to propose via a employment contract that you will be paying this worker the threshold, the income threshold, whichever one it is. If it's before July 1st, it's the amount. If it's after, it's 76,515, either at the time of application or upon the visa grant. So this is another key part to this, and this is accompanied by an annual market salary rate. It's a report, again, just like the labor market testing, and it's very crucial to make sure that the employee is getting paid according to the guidelines. And so the first step is to get your business approved and become a standard business sponsor, like I mentioned. And then once that's approved, you have 5 years to nominate as many workers as you want within reason. And so once you're an SPS sponsor, the second step is to go through the nomination requirements, nominating this employee, showing that no other locals can fulfill this role. And once that's approved, you can proceed to the visa application. Again, there cannot be adverse information related to the company, legal breaches, criminal convictions, exploitation of workers, links to, just the obvious activities, tax evasions. Yeah, have to be clean on the books, and it cannot be linked to anything that could, be deemed adverse by the department. The other important thing that comes up with a lot of 482 applicants or holders is if they leave their current employment while on a 482 and they are intending to change companies. And that's the process that's called nomination transfer. So if you hold a 482 today and you found another company and you want to sort of move to other company, and you have 180 days to find employment, to do the nomination transfer to the new company. So the new company, to do the transfer, the new company must also be a standard business sponsor. If they're not, then we have to do the standard business sponsorship, get them approved, and then do the nomination at that point. The visas will still be valid because they'll hold that visa for a certain period of time. So if you move from a 482 to a new company, the new company, if they're already in SPS, an approved business sponsor, you have to do the nomination transfer. And if they're not an approved sponsor, you have to get them approved first before you can do the nomination transfer. This applies to both streams, 484, 494. Graduate visas, yeah, 485 does not need sponsorship. And 408 and 407 training visas, they do need sponsorships along with the 482 and 494. As I mentioned, the income salary threshold is increasing as of July 1st to 76,515. And there's, as I mentioned, there's three streams. There's the core skills threshold, where it's 76,515 as of July 1st. Specialist stream is 135,000. So if you're nominating someone on a specialist skills stream, then you have to, obviously they have to be earning 135,000. As of July 1st, it's going to be going up to 141,210. Either you're going to be, as a business, you're going to pay them at the time of application, or you're already paying them at the time of application, or with the employment contract, with the understanding that you will be paying them upon the visa being approved. So yeah, applications that are launched before July 1st will, proceed and get processed normally, and then with the same threshold. When it comes to salary, after July 1st, it will be different. I have to abide by the new changes and the new salary for the streams. How do we help in this process? Look, one thing I've realized with No Borders, as opposed to other companies that I've worked for, is No Borders will take your hand from start to finish. We take the journey with you. The founder of the company, obviously, she's come from Hungary, and we have a lot of people who has made the journey either through the student visa route or work visa. So we all understand and can relate to either companies or employees, and we know how tricky or complex Australian migration could be. So the company has a lot of experience, like I said, 27 years in different industries. We do skills assessment. Some 482 applications require skills assessment for certain occupations. So without that, it will not be approved. And the other thing that I must mention is the caveats. So certain businesses nominating for certain roles will have a caveat. For example, it has to make a certain amount of money per year. The turnover has to be a set number. And the occupation cannot be in as a frontline. It cannot be a low skilled sort of front worker. It has to be, a skilled occupation, and it cannot be in a factory. For example, a chef cannot, has to be in a restaurant environment. Cannot be a mass factory sort of business nominating a position of chef. There's caveats that must be addressed. And yeah, one of the caveats that's important is being mindful what occupations need skills assessment. Without that, it will not be successful. So if you guys have any questions, feel free. I'll be here. I'm here to answer any questions. If it's not too specific, I can, or if you guys didn't understand a segment, I can go through it. So I'm here to help. If you guys want to send all your questions, feel free. Yeah, so while you guys are thinking of your questions, or if you don't have any questions, I'll just like to wrap up with um, our company. And at the moment, we have a lot of companies that we work with from all backgrounds, from sole traders to big companies. And on face value, if you look at the department website, it gives you a breakdown of sort of what you need. A lot of clients that come through the doors here, they have reached out to other companies, and yeah, it's not really as straightforward. Like I said, the migration process is it's very complex, especially now with the recent changes on visas and thresholds, and they're tightening the grip a bit with a lot of visa applications. So you want someone that does this on a daily basis to take over or help you with the process. If you look at department website, it seems very simple to do, but there's a lot of documents required that is not listed. And that's where we come in. We provide you a full checklist of what you need in terms of a company, in terms of nomination, and for the visa applicant. We just ask you to meet us halfway, provide us the documents, and we take over from there. All right, so if you guys don't have any questions, we'll leave it at that. Please feel free to reach out to myself or one of our team members, lawyers here, Sydney. We have a few branches, and we'll be happy to sit down with you and discuss your business. Um, if you're a business owner or if you're an employee seeking to be sponsored under the 482 stream, then or any other streams or any visa pathway, we're here to help and let us know, and we can book you in. Someone's typing something. I believe Raymond is typing something, so I'll just see if that's a question or. Yeah, recording is available. After this, I think my colleague can send you guys a link, or it will be available on this platform, and you can access that. Awesome. We'll leave it at that. Hope you guys got something out of this, and if there's any questions, feel free to reach out, please. Thank you for your time.